Yes.
Hey,
Okay, great. Give me just a second.
Day is April 30th, and Katrina Baur, the mother of Elijah Vue, is back in court. She is trying to get out on
Ryan,
a
are you set?
signature bond.
All right. We'll go on the record then. In State of Wisconsin
At the end
versus
of this,
Katrina Baur,
court hearing, I'll
24
recap the
CF
case real quick
163.
for any of you that
Appearances
might be
by
new
Zoom.
or just need a
State
refresher
appears
on it.
by Jacqueline Labrie.
Katrina Baur appears by Zoom from the Manitowoc County Jail with her attorney, Ann Larson.
Matters on the calendar for a bail motion today. Attorney Larson originally filed, let me find it here, a bail motion back on April 19th, and then there was an amended bail motion filed on the 29th. Attorney Labrie, did you have an opportunity to review both of those?
Yes, Judge, I had received the original bail motion, and then late last night I received the other one.
All right, Attorney Larson, go ahead.
Your Honor, Ms. Baur is not able to post the $15,000 cash bond. She is asking that the court order a signature bond. I did note in my amended bail motion that I would like to have the address of her location sealed. I think it's important for the court to know what it is for the purposes of bail. I did leave the address with the court's judicial assistant. I also did email the proposed address to Ms. Labrie. It is a Manitowoc County address, which I think is the more important part. Judge, in the past, she's had two disorderly conduct misdemeanor cases and two CT OAR cases. In 2011, 11 CM 993 and 15 CM 648, she never missed any court. In 17 CT 236, there was a bench warrant authorized on June 21st of 2017, but on June 23rd of 2017, it was withdrawn and she did appear. In 17 CT 752, Outagamie, all our Outagamie cases except for 11 CM 993, which is at Winnebago. 17 CT 752, there were a number of misses. There was a bench warrant authorized on February 2nd of 2018, which was canceled on February 9 of 2018. There was a bench warrant issued May 17 of 2018, which and the signature bond was reinstated on May 23rd. Additionally, there was a warrant issued August 15, and she was in custody. The signature bond was allowed to continue on October 19. And finally, there was a bond on November 7 with a return on November 15. During that particular case, she was in a domestic violence situation and was not able at different times to leave her home. But as I stated, she did make all of her future, or all of her court appearances prior to that. Ms. Baur has no significant assets. She does receive SSI and has received some assistance from her family, but she does plan on living in town. She will comply with any conditions as set forth by the court, including signing in a daily sign-in. But again, she is not capable of posting bond right now. I would indicate, I believe that this is a Class H felony, so I don't think a signature bond is out of order under these circumstances. We are asking that the court grant our request. Those are all of the remarks that I have, Judge.
Thank you. Attorney Labrie.
Judge, first of all, I know there is at least one victim representative that wants to make a statement. I don't know at what point in the hearing you would like to hear from them.
After you.
Okay. The state is opposed to a signature bond in this case. This is a felony matter. It is an extremely serious case. As Attorney Larson just detailed, the defendant does have prior convictions out of Outagamie and Winnebago County. She has the one missed court appearance in 17 CT 236, and then in 17 CT 752, she's got the 4 missed court appearances, including one of them being a plea hearing on August 14th of 2018, where the warrant was authorized, and she didn't return until several months later. She has shown that she's got the inability to make court dates with those missed court appearances, as well as she has the 4 prior cases. She does not have local ties. The address that I was provided literally a minute before the hearing is not a stable address. I won't say what it is, but it is not a stable address. It is in Manitowoc County, but I don't think it is an appropriate placement for her to reside. She has no other contacts. My understanding is the family is primarily out of Manitowoc County. I don't feel that there is enough stability with the proposed location for this to be modified to a signature bond, especially with the seriousness of this case. I think cash is still appropriate. Furthermore, as far as the second part of the request that was filed regarding the lifting of the no contact, I received that last night. I did contact that county this morning. I was informed that that matter is still pending, that they were unaware of that this request was going to be made until I called them this morning. And at this point in time, they are not in favor of it. They haven't really been in communication with her recently. So at this point, they are not supporting that request. And we would ask that that second request also be denied. And as I had indicated before, Judge, I know there is at least one Vue family member that would like to make a statement.
All right, I'll get to them in just a second. I was going to ask Attorney Larson about touching on the part of the motion, the amended motion that dealt with contact with the minor child. So Attorney Larson, go ahead.
Judge, we have different information than Ms. LaBrie has, but I appreciate the fact that I only filed the motion late yesterday afternoon. So what I would propose would be to withdraw the motion for today and refile to give the parties time to get information so that the court can make an informed decision.
Okay. And so the member of the victim's family that wishes to make a statement, and all I need you to do right now is unmute, and I'll be able to tell who it is that wants to speak. Okay. The panel marked as Orson Vue unmuted. So first I need you to state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Yes, Orson Vue, Orsonvue.
All right, go ahead and tell me what you care to, sir.
Your Honor, we are asking that the court deny any request by Katrina Baur to reduce or modify her current bond. She is the mother of Elijah and is the main reason for all this that has happened. She's allowed Elijah to suffer the abuse and neglect that he went through, and seeing her baby with all bruised up and not doing anything to help him, and instead taking a picture and then deleting it is absolutely disgusting. Katrina needs to be held fully accountable for a lack of care for Elijah. And until we find out where Elijah is or what happened to Elijah, her whereabouts and availability needs to be known at all times. And there truly is a concern from everyone, especially our family, that she will be a flight risk. And we trust that the court will make the right decision and give Elijah the justice he deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. So a couple things. First of all, since Attorney Larson is withdrawing the portion of the motion dealing with contact with the minor child, the court, for today's purposes, won't address that. And as far as as far as amending the bond goes, you know, it's difficult to gauge this case on the scale with the prior kinds of cases she's had on her record. They're not the same. This would be an entirely different situation if the child in question were here. He's not. You know, and I don't know what that means in terms of, you know, the context of this and taking a long view of the case here. But it's a significant factor. I mean, she's charged with, you know, party to the crime neglect of the child, and the child is missing. She's not from here. You know, and as far as the local address goes, whether or not the state has concerns with it, she could have what could be considered by anyone to be a solid address in this county, and it really wouldn't make that much difference in terms of the weight I give it as a factor. What I consider in this case, and the other thing is this, I want to touch on this. It's difficult to attempt to manage this case and the request for bail like we would normally. You know, Attorney Larson mentions that she'd be willing to comply with a daily check-in at the jail. The reality of the situation is that would defeat the purpose of sealing her proposed address. For anyone to think that she could go anywhere in this county and not be followed by somebody, I don't think you're living in reality. And, you know, at that point, you know, there's no control over what might happen. And that's not to say that, you know, I think she needs to be kept on bond as set for her safety. It just means I don't necessarily have control over it. And I don't know, you know, were I to set a daily check-in, if I didn't feel safe going to the jail to check in, I don't know that I would. And then I end up back here having to deal with that. And that's not a situation I want to find myself in. The reality is there's too much at stake. There are too many unanswered questions. That all goes on the scale and leads me to believe that if she were released into the county, she would pose a significant risk of not appearing for court when scheduled. I don't at this point think there's a manner in which I could reasonably and appropriately control that through the use of bond. So for those reasons, the court will deny the motion. I'll ask Attorney Labrie to draft the order. And I guess, Attorney Labrie, for the sake of the order, if you just want to use language that denies the bail motion that was filed on April 19th, since Attorney Larson technically is withdrawing the other motion, and we may take that up at a later point. I don't want there to be any confusion as to whether the denial today is a denial of that request since it's been withdrawn. Okay?
Yes, Judge.
All right, then let me just see. We don't have anything else set. So have the parties talked about what you're looking to have set as far as the next date? Do you want an additional further proceedings deadline? Do you want a status conference? What are you looking for here? And I'll start, I guess, with Attorney Labrie.
Judge, there is a significant amount of discovery that we have provided to Ms. Larson. I believe it was provided to her on a hard drive last week. I don't know how long she's going to need to go through that discovery.
Attorney Larson, what are your thoughts as far as setting the next date?
Judge, given the fact that she's in custody and will be unable to post, we're going to need to work on this as quickly as we can. I'm going to ask for a status hearing in 2 weeks.
Let me see what I've got. I can do just a shade over that. I can do May 22nd at 2:30 or 4.
Judge,
Go ahead.
I am out of the office that week, but if it is only just a status, I could appear by Zoom.
Judge, if the court has something available the following week, that's fine.
Um, 4 o'clock on the 28th.
That works for the state.
That's fine.
All right. So we'll set a status conference by Zoom then for 4 o'clock on the 28th. Attorney Larson, are you going to want your client made available for that, or are you anticipating it's just going to be the court and the attorneys?
I think we're fine with just the court and the attorneys.
All right, real good. Anything else for the record today then from the state?
No, Judge, thank you.
Attorney Larson?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Then we're adjourned.
So thankfully, once again, Katrina Baur has been denied bond. And if you're just catching up on this case, let me give you a fairly quick rundown. You can also visit the playlist I have for Elijah Vue, and there are plenty of videos in that. But basically, an Amber Alert went out in the Wisconsin town of Two Rivers, warning that a little boy had gone missing and police needed the community's help. Now, this is coming from the Independent News. This was dated April 16th. Today is April 30th. Nearly 2 months on from the 20th of February alert, the town is still searching for Elijah Vue, while his mother and her boyfriend are in jail, facing child neglect charges. 3-year-old Elijah was last seen around 8 a.m. in Two Rivers, a town on the shore of Lake Michigan in Wisconsin. Two Rivers Police Department said they received a call at 10:59 a.m. from the adult caregiver, who later turned out to be his mother's partner, Jesse Vang, who reported Elijah as missing. Elijah lived in Wisconsin Dells with his mother and his older sister, about 150 miles away. Now, according to the affidavits, he had been sent by his mother, Katrina Baur, to stay with Mr. Vang for disciplinary reasons. In court documents, police say that Miss Baur told them she had sent her son to Mr. Vang so he could teach the boy how to be a man. Yes, Elijah's only 3 years old. Mr. Vang allegedly used tactics, including timeouts where Elijah had to stand up for 1 to 3 hours or was forced to take cold showers. On March 20th, new details emerged of messages between Jesse Vang and Katrina Baur in the days that led up to Elijah's disappearance. One of them, quote unquote, "I told you to trust me. Make sure he hates me and being here," Mr. Vang told the mother on February 18th, into which she responded, "Don't want him to hate you, just fear you." However, Mr. Vang told Miss Baur not to worry and that sometimes someone has to be the quote unquote, the bad person. Katrina responds, "I know, but either way, he can fear you and respect you." Mr. Vang responded that Elijah did fear him, but he didn't respect me. Now I'm making him respect me. The complaint also shows that a few days before, on February 13th and 14th, Miss Baur had visited the Two Rivers apartment and took a photo of Elijah with a blindfold over his eyes and bruising on his face as he lay on a bed. His own mother took this photo. At this point, she had left her 6-year-old girl, who is autistic, outside in a cold car. Another photo was taken on February 15th. This one showed Elijah standing in a corner in apparently full diaper and nothing else, with his hands in a praying position. A few days later, Mr. Vang reported Elijah missing. At the time of his disappearance, Elijah was said to be wearing gray pants, a dark colored long sleeve shirt, red and green dinosaur slip on shoes. Investigators urged the public to be on the lookout for the little boy who's described as being of Hmong and white ethnicity, about 3 feet tall and having brown hair and brown eyes. He does have a birthmark on his left knee. Now, one day after Elijah's disappearance, his mother, Katrina Baur, who is 31, was arrested and charged with party to a crime, child neglect. She reportedly changed her story on her whereabouts at least twice while being interviewed by investigators, and then was hit with 2 further charges of obstruction on Monday, February 26th. On March 7th, Ms. Baur appeared in court where her appeal to have her $15,000 bond revoked was denied by the judge after her own mother told the court that a daughter should not be allowed to go free. Katrina's mother said, "I don't feel it's worth the risk to lower her bond, especially as Elijah has not been found and many questions remain unanswered." The DA announced updated charges at that hearing, replacing the original child neglect charge to chronic child neglect and adding another child neglect charge relating to her 6-year-old daughter on February 14th. Mr. Vang, who is 39, was arrested a few hours after Elijah disappeared, and he also was charged with child neglect. He reportedly has a history of other criminal offenses, including child abuse, and is being held on a $20,000 bond. At a hearing for Mr. Vang on April 4th, detectives who first responded to the Two Rivers apartment where Elijah had been staying gave testimony, revealing new details on the tactics he allegedly used with the boy. There was one toy in the residence, which was given to Elijah at Christmas time. However, during his stay with Mr. Vang, because it was a punishment, Elijah was not allowed to play with that one toy. Mr. Vang also allegedly gave Elijah a cold shower on February 17th after he had filled his diaper. The judge said there was enough evidence to proceed to trial, with the next court appearance was being set for April 16th. Now, Katrina has pled not guilty to the charges before her, and on April 16th, Mr. Vang appeared in court, and he also entered a not guilty plea to child neglect charges. Elijah's father, who is Jimmy Vue, has been in prison for quite some time. He has been attending these last couple of hearings via Zoom. The Vue family, who has said that they've not had any contact with Elijah since he was a baby, have been heavily involved in the search efforts for him. They continue to follow up on every lead that comes to them in their attempt to bring Elijah home safely. They won't really comment on specific case details, including whether the department is treating this as an abduction. But that is basically where we are now. Now on March 18th. March 18th, the police department did announce that officers had found Elijah's blanket. So when he disappeared, he had this little red and white plaid blanket with him. They had found that blanket, and it was located about 3.7 miles from the apartment where Elijah was staying with Jesse Vang. There is a $15,000 reward for any information which leads to Elijah. Then, as of Tuesday, March 5th, the Crime Stoppers also offered $10,000 for the same information. So there is a reward for it. They just continue to ask for the public, if you have any information whatsoever on this case, please call 844-267-6648 or submit information via the local Crime Stoppers app, P3. So that is the update today for little Elijah Vue. Unfortunately, he has still not been located, but his mother, Katrina Baur, was denied bond once again today. So we will see what happens going from here. Keep the searches up. The families are doing amazing. Katrina's mother, you're amazing. Your strength is amazing. Please, all of you, keep up the wonderful work, and Elijah will be brought home. With that said, thank you guys so much for joining me. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. God bless and have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.